amigos, ramen coming at ya. So, about One Piece.
I'm Monkey D. Luffy, and I will be the king of the pirates.
So come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams. Together we will find everything that we're looking for. There is always room for you if you want to be my friend. We are on the cruise. We are.
Live-action anime adaptations have had a pretty bad reputation over the years, with shows like Death Note and Cowboy Bebop missing the mark and capturing the animes faithfully. But question is, how do you faithfully capture an anime's source material and also make it easy for fans and newcomers to watch? Well, Netflix managed to do that with its new live-action anime adaptation, One Piece. Now, right off the bat, I never watched One Piece.
Move this man!
I know, shocker. Hey, if you expect me to watch 1,000 episodes of an anime before I recorded this video, you're out of your gum fruiting mind.
No way!
You dumbass!
When the trailers for the Netflix One Piece show came out, just like everyone, I was a bit skeptical. I mean, when you watch Dragon Ball Z Evolution in both English and Spanish, it's kinda hard not to be skeptical. But believe it or not, the trailers aren't the reason I gave this show a chance. It was the marketing with Inuyaki Godoy, the actor for Luffy. I enjoy seeing him meet Oda, the creator of One Piece, and him saying Inuyaki Godoy was Luffy, as well as Inuyaki Godoy meeting the voice actor for Japanese Luffy. It was Inuyaki Godoy's energy and love for the show, as well as the cast interviews, that made me renew my Netflix subscription. Now going into the show, I had zero prior knowledge of One Piece. I knew of the character Luffy from seeing clips and maybe playing some video games. Jump Force to be exact, yeah, the game still sucks. While I didn't watch much of the show, I understood that these characters meant a lot to people. When I watched the Netflix show, I was sucked into its world and characters, and what the show represents. After watching 8 episodes of this show, I can finally say I'm a One Piece fan. But what is this show like? Well, Netflix One Piece has a total of 8 episodes, with 2 episodes dedicated to each member of the crew. The first season of this show is dubbed the East Blue Arc. Episode 1 and 2 sets up Luffy, a character who dreams of being the king of the pirates, and finding the One Piece, a treasure hidden in the Grand Line. Luffy ate a devil fruit called the Gum Gum Fruit, which makes him stretchy. In episode 1 we meet Kobe, a kid who's a slave on Alveda's ship, but after an epic fight between her and Luffy, Kobe becomes free and has a desire to be a marine, or as Luffy says,
Be a good marine.
this episode also introduces us to our main crewmates Zoro and Nami. Zoro is a swordsman who has a bit of an attitude and likes to sleep. He dreams of being a great swordsman. We also meet Nami, a woman whose past remains a mystery throughout the show, but her dream is to make a map of the world. First episode we learn Nami is a skilled navigator and is pretty good at fighting. After Luffy and Nami steal a map to the Grand Line from the Marines and face off a guy with an axe hand, the three set sail for the Grand Line. But the Marines are also on their tail, and Kobe, who has become a Marine, helps Luffy's grandfather capture them. At the end of episode 1, we get a tease for a clown character named Buggy.
That's my map. I'm gonna get it back. No matter who I have to kill.
Episode 2 gives us the second best villain of this show, Buggy, a clown pirate who, well, is a bit insane. After Buggy stretches Luffy, we learn that he used to be a part of Shanks' crew, a character who gave Luffy his iconic straw hat. I really like Buggy's introduction in this episode as a chaotic clown who has a fun but dangerous side. He kinda reminds me of the Joker, but cooler. So Buggy happened to enslave the entire town and makes them be his captive audience. In this episode, Nami and Zoro end up getting trapped, and Buggy interrogates Luffy for the Grand Line map, as he also wants to be king of the pirates. Buggy then puts Luffy in a tank, which I learn while watching this episode is the weakness to a devil fruit user. Yes, seawater is their weakness. They also cannot swim. Nami and Zoro end up escaping and beating up Buggy's henchmen, and freeing Luffy from the water tank. In this episode, we have Luffy, Nami, and Zoro working as a team to defeat Buggy. If I didn't mention it before, Buggy is also a devil fruit user. He has a devil fruit called a chop chop fruit.
So you can slice me, and you can dice me, but I'll always put myself back together again.
That's my favorite line from Buggy. The gang ends up turning Buggy into a Goomba for Mario, and they free the town. In the end of the episode, the Marines initiate a manhunt for Luffy, and Kobe struggles between his friendship with Luffy and his loyalty to the Marines. What made this episode for me was Buggy. I can see why people make all those weird Buggy TikTok edits. He's a standout in this show, and the actor's performance sells it. Episode 3 and 4 is the Usopp Arc. Usopp is a character whose dream is to be a brave warrior. When we are first introduced to Usopp, he's running through the town claiming pirates are coming. And it's here we learn that the village doesn't believe Usopp because he's a notorious liar. In this episode, the gang are looking for a new ship. Usopp tells Luffy he can take him to a woman named Kaya. Kaya happens to be Usopp's friend and the person Usopp tells all of his made-up stories to. Kaya is a person who can help the gang get a boat, but one problem. Usopp's not really welcome in the mansion. They eventually get in and meet a very uptight butler named Kuro, who helps Kai due to her illness. Midway through, we learn Kuro and his crew of Black Cat pirates were slowly poisoning Kaya, so that Kuro can get the mansion and the shipyard for himself. Kuro then kills this goat man named Mary, who Luffy was gonna make a deal with for the boat. Zoro comes to the realization that Kuro is the captain of the Black Cat pirates. Zoro is then knocked out and tossed into a well with his swords, along with Mary. We get these great flashbacks of Zoro as a kid training to be a great swordsman. We also get these back and forth flashbacks of Zoro climbing up the well, as well as Zoro as a kid training. Usopp sees all this go down, and he runs into the village screaming pirates are coming, and nobody believes him. And damn, seeing Usopp cry hits me right in the feels.
Pirates are here. They really are. Why won't anybody believe me?
The only people that believe Usopp is Kobe and the Marines. Meanwhile, for like half the episode, Luffy's out of commission for drinking blue soup that was poisoned. Second episode, Marines show up to the house and Kuro gives them Luffy. Kobe still thinks Kuro is suspicious, but Kuro is a master of words. Kuro tells them to leave and don't believe Usopp. Finally, Zoro makes it out of the well. Maybe the Black Cat pirate should have not left his swords with him. Luffy then recovers from his poisoned soup coma and escapes the Marines. Luffy wants to protect his friends no matter the cost. I gotta say, I got chills watching Kuro look for Kaya, Usopp, and Nami. I swear the camera work while these three are hiding really adds to the tension. Luffy comes in like a badass and kicks Kuro's butt and lands the finishing move, Gum Gum Bell. Zoro also ends up defeating Kuro's minions. And Kuro is seen escaping on a boat. Maybe he'll be back for season 2? Who knows? The Straw Hat crew gets their new boat, which they called the Going Merry, and Usopp joins the Straw Hat Pirates. I enjoyed these two episodes and the flashback of Zoro's childhood and Usopp's childhood. It made me feel more connected to the characters, and I enjoyed Usopp's relationship with Kaya, with her just enjoying Usopp's made-up stories, and Usopp just being an all-around goofball. It made me believe that these two were made for each other. Also, Usopp got that kiss. I'm saying, man got Riz. I gotta say, as a new One Piece fan, Kuro is top 1 villain for me. At first, while watching the episode, it tricks you into believing Kuro's just a normal butler. But when he first killed Mary and those blades came out, I was on the edge of my seat. What I didn't like is that Usopp never got a hit on Kuro. I mean, he threw one pellet and Kuro just caught it. Overall, it was a really good episode. That was just a small complaint. Now we're on to episode 5 and 6, which are the Sanji Arc. Sanji's a master chef who works for Zeph in his restaurant. The gang has a nice meal which Luffy can't pay for, so Zeph makes the poor kid work in his kitchen.
Can add it to my treasure tab.
And what, pray tell, is that?
I may not look like a big deal yet, but you're talking with the future king of the pirates. And as soon as I find the One Piece, I'm gonna come back here, pay this bill in full, and with interest.
Hey! Ain't nobody trying to hear that bullshit.
Then introduced to a guy named Mihawk, a pirate who's a master swordsman. He was sent by the Marines to capture Luffy, but Zoro challenges Mihawk to a sword fight to claim the title of Master Swordsman. After a good battle with Mihawk using a tiny sword, I know it's so tiny, Zoro is then defeated by Mihawk and is injured real bad. Episode 6, Zeph helps Sanji by patching Zoro's wounds. While Zoro is recovering from his injuries, this episode dives deep into Sanji's backstory, which I can say is pretty dark. Sanji's backstory is Sanji worked as a cook on a boat. While the ship was attacked by Zeph's pirates, a wave hit the boat. The ship sunk and Sanji and Zeph were the only survivors. Zeph gives Sanji a bag of food. Zeph tells Sanji to go on the other side of the rock and alert him when he sees a boat. The two end up being stranded on an island for 85 days. On one of those days, Sanji gets hungry and, well, he sees Zeph with no leg. Yeah, turns out Zeph ate one of his goddamn legs. Yeah, his freaking leg.
Your leg! What happened? You ate it! You ate your own leg?
Oh, hell no!
Zeph tells Sanji they both share the same dream, to find the All Blue, which is why Zeph gave Sanji his food, so he can live and achieve his dream. So in comes the final villain of this season, Arlong, a strong shark-like fish man who comes to the restaurant looking for the Grand Line map. After some fighting from Luffy and Sanji, Zoro finally wakes up, and we get a shocking twist. Nami was part of Arlong's crew and used Luffy to get the Grand Line map. Sanji, after a talk with Zeph, joins the crew as their cook. The crew sets sail to get Nami back, as Luffy believes there's still good in her. These two episodes had a lot of really great moments I enjoyed. The crew hanging out together at the restaurant and laughing, just goofing off. And I love Sanji's backstory and how he met Zeph. But a scene that stands out in this episode is Sanji's goodbye.
Goodbye, Zeph. You know, all these years, living under your shitty roof, cooking at your shitty restaurant, I owe you my life. Thank you for putting up with my shit all these years, old man. I'll never forget you, Zeph.
This scene made me fall in love with Sanji. Just look at him. He's like a freaking god among men. Episodes 7 and 8 are the final episodes of this season. This is the Nami Arc. After some convincing from Sanji, we learn from Nami's sister, Nami and her were raised by their adoptive mother. Even when times were hard, Nami's mother cared for both her sister and her. But then, the town was raided by Arlong and his crew. The town was forced to pay monthly for their lives. Nami's mom only had enough for her kids. So Arlong killed her in front of Nami and her sister. Nami then decides to join Arlong's crew to free her village. Arlong promises to sell back her village for 1 million berries. Nami ends up becoming Arlong's cartographer. Nami is also chained up in a room, forced to make maps all day. Things take a turn in this episode as a bunch of corrupt Marines sent by Arlong end up taking Nami's berries that she was gonna use to buy back her village. Turns out Arlong went back on his deal and never kept his promise. Arlong then decides to set fire to the town. This leads us to a powerful scene between Luffy and Nami. This scene made Luffy's character much more than a pirate. He is willing to fight for his friends, and Luffy never gave up on Nami.
Of course I will.
Of course I will! Oh god, give me like 5 minutes. That scene was like super powerful and like, I'm gonna cry.
I'm back. Let's continue. Episode 8, the Straw Hat crew gives Arlong everything they got. We got Sanji and Zoro working together to defeat Arlong's henchmen, and we even got the goat himself, Usopp, who got a freaking win that nobody saw.
Special attack! Exploding star! And his name is John C.
Yeah, still one of my favorite Usopp moments in the show. We also got a callback after Sanji defeats one of Arlong's minions. He says that all great fighters call out their finishing move. This callback was in the first episode, and hearing Sanji say it made me laugh.
Gum Gum Whip.
Yeah! All great fighters call out their finishing moves.
No, they don't. Mouton Shot.
All great fighters call out their finishing moves.
Yeah, you're gonna fit in just fine.
So we reach the final fight, Arlong versus Luffy. The two go head to head. Just when Arlong thought he won, Luffy decides to destroy the building and destroy all of Arlong's maps. Which technically, Nami was forced to draw, so yeah, Luffy's in the right here. Luffy then gives everything he has. He uses Gum Gum Gatling and punches the fool to infinity. Luffy then finishes Arlong with Gum Gum Battle Axe and destroys Arlong's building. The Straw Hats are victorious and celebrate, but Garp comes in and tries to arrest the Straw Hat gang. After a brief battle, Garp decides to let Luffy go, as he sees Luffy's ambition and determination as a pirate. Arlong and his crew are then arrested instead, and in the end of the episode, Luffy gets what he always wanted, a wanted poster. That most likely will have more pirates come after him, but hey, that's what Luffy wants. We even get a tease with Buggy and Alveda. If I didn't mention it before, in some episodes, Buggy is a head and the crew toss him around a lot and throw him in barrels, so I can see why Buggy wants revenge.
Oh, there once was a girl with tangerine hair. Stole my map and let me stranded somewhere. Truly a crafty and crooked young lass, but you can't deny she had a spectacular. Oh, God, right on my nose.
The gang get together and show Nami that they have a tangerine tree on the boat, so Nami remembers where she came from. And Luffy gets his Jolly Roger flag. The gang all puts their feet all in and share their dream as they put their leg down and yell like the crazy pirates they are. For the show only being 8 episodes, the writers and producers condensed a lot of the East Blue arc and decided to focus on the 5 main Straw Hats, which was a smart idea. The backstory for each character made me feel more connected to them. It made me want to see them achieve their dream. What also made this show work was the set design. From the boat to the restaurant to Arlong Park, each set felt like it had so much love and care put into it. You can tell the people behind this show cared about what they were making and were fans of the show. I also got to compliment how each and every character, whether it be minor or main, makes this fictional pirate world feel real, while not feeling too cartoony. The show even managed to take these snail phones from like the show that I guess they use as a way to communicate and made it feel so natural. They didn't even point out how weird and crazy it is. It felt like this world was alive. The prop department and the costume department and the CG people made me feel something I never felt while watching an adaptation. It made me crave more of this show. It made me want to see more of the Straw Hats fight their way to the Grand Line. The 5 main actors who play Luffy, Nami, Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp, they lived these roles. They all trained. They learned to become these characters, and the result was a magical adventure. Even the actor who plays Sanji learned to kick and fight like Sanji, and he learned to cook. He even cooked for the cast and crew. Dude became Sanji, just like how Inuyaki Godoy became the perfect Luffy. I went into this show blind, not knowing what to expect. One Piece seemed like a very underwhelming show, and for a person like me who doesn't have much free time, I couldn't make that commitment to watch 1,000 episodes. But the live action show was able to take this anime, shorten it, and focus on the characters' stories while changing a few things around, while remaining faithful to its source material. At the time of writing this video, we got an announcement for season 2, and I couldn't be much happier. This show is a treat for both fans and newcomers of One Piece. No, I never looked at this bounty. 50 bucks? Who the hell is gonna claim a bounty for 50 bucks? You get the best! Hello?
hey, buddy, listen.
Ramona, are you drunk?
Are you drunk?
What?
No, now the question I have. Listen, dog. I see this. I see this piece of paper, right, with your face, and I need some money to pay for my drinks. So I'm gonna get that money.
Okay, how many drinks did you order, Ramona?
What comes after 29?
30?
That.
I'm hanging up. And with that, my name is Ramen, and I'm gonna go pick up a friend before she gets in trouble. You have a good night.
Bye.